Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Black Link Experience. I am your host, Marva B, and I'm so excited to be here tonight with Mr. Christopher Mann. Chris or Christopher Mann. I'm just so excited for this interview. I've been waiting for this interview, you guys. So let's go ahead and welcome Mr. Christopher Mann. Chris, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on the show too.
Absolutely. I'm just elated about this. So thank you for, taking the time to even come to Black Link Magazine and have a conversation with me.
Oh, sure.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Chris, go ahead and tell the world who you are and what you do.
My name is Chris Mann, and I am an actor, African-American actor in the United States of America.
Yeah.
I was on The Wire. I've done quite a few different productions. The Wire, the movie Loving, about the interracial couple that got married and got kicked out of Virginia. This true story. Actually, I've done quite a few true stories. I did another one called The Nomads with Tika Sumpter about a school in Philadelphia that started a rugby team in order to get scholarships for some of the students because they had too many people for the football team. And it's a plethora of things. I did some work on The Right Stuff, which is a Disney Plus series, playing a doctor. That was all about the NASA space program. I mean, it's just, I've been working. I've been blessed.
Thank goodness. It's always good to see a Black man working in the industry, and as much as you've done and continue to do, it's just always a blessing to see that you're working. Yeah. So Tika Sumpter, I just want to jump right into that. How was it working with her? I love her to pieces on everything that she does. So how was that experience?
Tika is an awesome individual, man. I had a great time working with her. You know how you can just feel people's spirits when you work with them. She's really down to earth and easy to work with. She really was, man. So I really enjoy working with her.
I'm seeing also that you do some production. Is that right?
There's been several film projects that I've helped produce, and I worked on those. So right now, I'm gonna put this out there. I don't know. Everybody's not familiar with an individual by the name of Cecil B. Moore. Some people are, some people aren't. I'm working with a couple of gentlemen on a project. We're trying to get off the ground. We're going to try to do a mini series about this gentleman by the name of Cecil B. Moore, who was a civil rights activist in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Back in the 60s. He was a controversial figure. He was a World War II veteran. And he came, as a matter of fact, he was a Montford Point Marine, which was the first group of Black Marines that were allowed in the military back in World War II. He came to Philadelphia, became a lawyer, and did some amazing things. But he has a alter ego that he had to deal with, and the thing is, his personal life and his professional life were total contrast. One was, my thing is he fought for African Americans, for rights for us, but his personal life was a disaster. And the story is amazing. It's amazing. I don't want to give too much of it up. He's not your average civil rights leader. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you think of civil rights leaders, you go, him. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you, and I ask all my guests, what was it for you, or when did you know that it was acting for you and you wanted to get in this industry and really go hard in this industry?
I used to sing a lot. I remember back in college, I used to do talent shows and all that kind of stuff. And then when I came home, when I don't know, it was always an interest that I had as a kid, but I never had enough courage to actually do it. But as I got older, because I had a rough upbringing, so the opportunities to get into performing arts schools, that none of that stuff was actually a possibility. So as I got older, I said, okay, I'm gonna start taking classes. I started with a commercial class. Then I went on to studying with theater groups, and then the next thing you know, I'm traveling back and forth to California, sleeping on couches and the whole nine, so it's that story, you know what I mean? So, at one point I was studying with a gentleman by the name of George DiCenzo. He was a Yale drama graduate. And I studied with him for like over 5 years. And out of all the classes and all the seminars and everything else that I've done, I really found my voice working with him. And from there, it was kind of like, okay, anybody that comes along, I'm ready for you now. You know what I mean? It was that thing. And that's when I knew that, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I'm supposed to do, because I felt so at home. Even when I did The Wire, working on that set, that was the first series that I had worked on with a reoccurring role.
Mhm.
And after a while, when you come to set and you feel more at home than you do it at home, you know what I mean? When you're on set, you know that's where you're supposed to be.
That's when you know you're in the right place. Yeah.
Right, right.
I did catch some of your singing on your Instagram, y'all. So if y'all want to hear his voice, go to Instagram.
Oh, old school, old school.
Yeah, I love it. I'm old school.
Uh,
So you talk about reoccurring roles, and it's not easy to get a reoccurring role. And I hear a lot of people in the industry say, I'm just happy to be working now. So The Wire was like your first reoccurring role that you
right,
captured, right?
right.
How did it turn into you being able to do as much as you're doing now? Did you have a team of people, or was it just the relationships you built? How does that work?
I consider it being blessed, because I don't think there's really a roadmap. I think everybody gets there on their own terms. I've been fortunate. I've had people, agents and managers who believe in me enough to push to try to get me work. And, I wish I did have that kind of network though. You know what I mean? Because I mean, even at this point now, it's still tough to get work. It's still not an easy gig. You know what I mean? So, but I've been fortunate. I've worked with George Clooney. I've worked with Clive Owens. I've worked, on The Wire with Glenn Turman and Frankie Faison and all. It's been a lot of people that I've been blessed to
Big
work with.
names.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
So and then so for the people that are new to the industry, just busting into acting, um, tell about the journey of how there are some no's in this game, and that you talked about having to sleep on some couches, just to kind of get to California and do what you needed to do.
Right.
What was your struggle, or if any, that you want to share? Can you go a little deeper into what your struggle was, just to share with people that are coming into the business?
Well, my my struggle was I started having a family early. You know what I mean? A lot through this. I put it like this: my youngest son is 20. I'll be 22 this month.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's the fourth out of four kids. You know what I mean? So I have four kids. So trying to balance work, going back and forth to California, and everything else. That was a journey that I see why a lot of people. I put it like this: if a young person is trying to get into this industry, don't put any extra weight on your back, because it just makes it that much harder to keep going forward. Even though it does create motivation, you know what I mean? I mean, to have a family, you're motivated to make things happen, but it's sometimes it may be a little undue stress that you might be carrying because of that. Some of the struggles, there's not a lot of work written for us. I mean, it's starting to be a little bit more now. You know what I mean? You're starting to see a few more things happening. There. And this is sound a little strange too, but I usually don't get into it too heavy, but a lot of times now when if you noticed, a lot of actors, especially Black actors, are coming from England. You know what I mean? So they're bringing in other people to get they're taking over a lot of our work.
Yeah.
And for me, and probably others like me, being a fair complected Black, usually when they say you want a Black male, they go for a darker skinned male. So. You know what I mean? So it's it's a whole lot of red tape, man. It's a lot.
And before, it was all about light skinned people, light skinned men, light skinned women. And then, now it's turning, you're saying that if I want a Black man, I want a really dark skinned man that plays.
But I think that's only been for the females, actually, because if you go back, you got Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby. Bill Duke. I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, you had James Earl Jones and what's his name? Matter of fact, and he gave up his whole career for fighting for civil rights. Harry Belafonte, you know what I mean? But he went into civil rights, and they blackballed him basically. Yeah. So when you think about it, when you look back and start looking over, you go, wow, maybe it really wasn't like for females it was. I mean, you had the Lena Horne and all of that, you know what I mean? But the males, it never was.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I didn't go back that far. I was just thinking, but I guess it is a woman thing. It was about, I think about, Viola Davis and how she talked about, being that, a dark skinned woman in the game, and just how hard it was to get work. But you're right. There were dark complected men, Black men that lead roles.
Avery Brooks. I mean, if you look, seriously, you go back and look, you go, you know, because I try to examine it and try to be realistic about it. You know what I mean? I'm like, so
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, you played in a lot of some HBO series. You played in those. Tell me, what is it like when you go on? First of all, tell me what it's like to get the call. When I talk to some actors, actresses, they say, I had to audition, and then some say, you know what, they knew who they wanted. They called me, and I kind of had the role already. Have you had both scenarios happen to you, and how is that?
Yeah, actually, I've had that happen on the movie Loving. Because I auditioned for it,
Yeah.
but at the time it was really weird because when I first got the call for it, they said it was a low budget film shooting in Virginia. So I was like, well, I could do low budget in Philly and New York. You know what I mean? I want to go all the way to Virginia to shoot that because it's a lot of times with low budget, they're not going to pay for you to come in. You got to travel on your own and do everything else. So I was like, well, that seems a little far fetched. Right. So anyway, they wanted me to read anyway. So I read, and they said they really liked me and they wanted to have a call back. So I was like, okay, this is crazy. And then at this time, I still didn't know who was in the film and who was, actually producing. Right. So I went on IMDb and started, cross-referencing things. And I found out that Jeff Nichols, who was a prominent writer and director, and as a matter of fact, early on, Martin Scorsese was originally a part of the project, but I guess he left it. But his name was still on the IMDb. I said, Martin Scorsese. I said, this is not low budget. Something's going on here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So by the time we did the callback, I read for them again, and they said, "Hey, we really like you." And so to me, they already knew, you know what I mean? Yeah. So they asked me to come to Virginia and come and meet face to face. So I went down there. It wasn't even an audition; it was just for me to come and meet everybody. Ruth Negga had just come in from London, and it was from there. It was just time to just do the film, man. So that was pretty much like that was a shoe-in kind of gig right there, which is just beautiful.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. So on a normal set for a feature film that happens, what is the set like? Is it like tons and tons of people because you have lighting, you have this, you have that? Is it tons of people? And how is it set? Are you working from 2 microphones, 2 cameras? How does that work when it's a feature film? I know it's different if it's a stage or something different, like there are small TV series.
I mean, it all depends. They have different camera setups. You know what I mean? They can have 2 cameras at one time. They have one, sometimes it's just one. It is a lot of people. I mean, you got all the crew, the grips and the sound people. And I mean, it's a lot of folks on there. You got PAs running all over the place. And but for me, I like it because to me, it's a concerted effort because everybody's got a job to do and everybody wants this project to be good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you take that energy in and just go for it. I mean, now you just like any workplace, I mean, there's going to be some folks that are rubbing people the wrong way. You know what I mean? You get that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I think it's fun. It's a concerted effort. You're in there, I'm here to do my job. If I do my job well and they do theirs well, we're going to have a great project. Yeah. So what do you have going on today? Like you talked about the new one that you're preparing for. Anything else in your pocket you got? I've got some friends, some people that I'm working with in LA that have some projects that they're trying to launch. So, if those get those, I can't talk about them at this time because they're pitching them and whatnot. So if they come through, then of course, I'll be working with them on those projects. It's been real tricky with this whole COVID thing. You know what I mean? It's been real crazy. And, to some degree, I mean, they say for safety reasons, but I mean, sometimes they end up discriminating against people who haven't gotten the vaccines, you know what I mean? True. And, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, it's still a personal choice and everybody doesn't feel comfortable with it. And I understand that, you know what I mean? I understand that. Yeah, you gotta let people, be who they are, and it's a choice. So I understand that. At any given time, how many gigs have you had at once? So say that you're working on this one and another one came through. So now you're learning these lines and now I gotta learn this line. Have you ever? I've had, maybe 2 or 3 projects that I'm bouncing in between, and that's always interesting too, because I mean, you gotta remember where you are and who you are in each role. Who you are, where you are. Exactly. Yeah. So that can be challenging. What is your process to learn the lines? Like, I always wondered, how could I learn a whole movie and I'm the lead person or I'm next to the lead person and I got all these lines? How do you do that? Yeah, well, it's called scene study. Like when you're studying, when you're in school studying, you know, you do, they have things, it's called scene study. So each scene is a separate individual piece.
Right.
They all connect together to make, you know, the
Right.
you know, project. So you go scene by scene, break those scenes down, know who you are in those moments, break it down. The lines will come because it'll make sense if you know what's going on in the scene. You understand? If you know who you are and you know what you want from this character, or you know what they want from you, you know, all you got to do is get into that scene, become that individual, and understand the circumstances. The circumstances is more important than even the lines, but the lines will come once you get to that point. So you break each scene, every scene is a scene study. Boom, 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 boom. So when they call, matter of fact, they'll let you know, like you have a breakdown, they'll tell you, okay, this is what we're shooting tomorrow. You go boom, and you hit those scenes.
Gotcha.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you have like someone that when you're learning your parts, do you have someone that you're reading that's reading with you to help you, you know, with the characters, the other characters, that to know when your part is up? And I guess you said it by saying that you got to understand what's going on at that time.
You got to, yeah. Well, my wife reads with me. Like if I have auditions, she reads with, you know, she's my reader. Yeah. And she's become really good at, she's become excellent at reading. I don't trust anybody else to read with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told her I was going to get her a SAG card. If she kept getting, you know, as good as she
could. She might want to be an actress.
Yeah. But the only thing is she can't put the script down.
I get it.
Right. She put the script down, she's lost, you know what I mean? So as long as she got the paper, she's good. You know?
Oh, that's amazing. Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here and just sharing a piece of you with Black Link Magazine and the world. Like, you guys, if you want to know more about Chris, just Google him because it's out there. The movies are out there that he's played in. And so, Chris, how can people find you on social media sites?
I'm under Christopher Mann on Facebook, Chris Mann Senior, all together, Chris Mann SR on Instagram and Twitter.
Good luck on everything that you're doing, that you have going on. We will be following you. I cannot wait to see that movie drop. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to get out of here for now. Remember to respect yourself, respect others. You guys, let's go support Chris. Go like his pages. Leave your reviews on how you think the movies are, all that good stuff. Let's support one another. Chris, we're going to go for now. Thanks again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Be blessed.